to Early Morning Catechism. Today we are going to continue our study of the Church's dogmatic constitution on the Church from the Vatican Council, and we are on chapter 6 today, which is entitled Religious, and it is about religious life in the Church. Now I know that in the past sessions we have a couple of different times talked about religious life, but today I'd like to focus in on some of the unique things that the Vatican Council said about religious life. First of all, the Council says that the teaching and example of Christ provide the foundation for the evangelical counsels of chaste self-dedication to God, of poverty, and of obedience. In other words, living the evangelical counsels is a way of living the gospel to the fullest extent possible. And it is an imitation of Jesus, who never married, who lived a life of real poverty, and who was always seeking to do the will of the Father. The Council emphasizes that religious life has its own place in the structure of the Church. So we have the clerical way of life, the hierarchy that we've been talking about in the last couple sessions. And we have the lay life, and religious life is its own unique state of life in the Church. People have sometimes made the mistake of thinking religious sisters and brothers, men and women who take the vows, are substitute priests or wannabe priests, and they're really not. I know that in my own life, people have brought religious articles to me to bless them and things like that. It's like, I'm not a priest, I'm not a substitute priest or a wannabe priest. Religious life is its own unique way of life in the Church. The purpose of religious life, religious profession, is twofold: to give oneself totally to charity and to the worship of God. So to consecrate oneself in a more thoroughgoing way to the service of God is the purpose of religious life. The religious life strengthens everyone in the kingdom of God. It spreads the kingdom of God throughout the world. Now, the hierarchy is connected to religious life. Religious life is not autonomous and independent. What does the hierarchy do? First of all, the hierarchy, bishops is what I'm talking about, accepts the rules of a congregation. So here's the rule of our community. It's called Design for Life. It has the rule of St. Francis in the back, and has its constitutions, which are unique to the Sisters of St. Francis of the Holy Cross. But at the beginning of this book is a declaration from the Green Bay Diocese and the approval of the bishop of these constitutions. This statement is signed by Bishop Aloysius J.Y. Sislo in 1981. This is when we revised our constitutions after the Second Vatican Council. Before they could really be put into effect, they had to be signed by the bishop of our diocese. The Church also accepts the vows of religious in the context of a liturgical celebration. So when I made my final vows, the bishop was present, and the renewal or the profession of final vows took place in the context of the liturgy, namely after the homily at Mass. And then the sister actually signs a book. She signs her name in the book, two witnesses sign, and the bishop signs. And so religious life is never lived independently of the church's hierarchy. The evangelical councils, the bishops point out, do not prevent the person from becoming a fully developed human being. They do not stunt the development of the person. Rather, they contribute to the purification of the heart, and they conform the person to the life which Jesus chose for himself. Also, religious life does not alienate religious from other people, unless, of course, it is a contemplative type of religious life where the sisters or brothers live in a monastery. But the consecrated life is to be lived in the midst of the people. It is for the sake of upbuilding not only the people within the church, but all of human society. In other words, religious life is prophetic. And by living the 3 vows of poverty, celibacy, and obedience, without having husband or wife or children, without having material goods, without being able to live independently on what is one's own, religious point to something beyond, something above and beyond. They witness to that life that is to come. And so in a special way they manifest the transcendence of the kingdom of God.